a 3-member special GFA committee has been given 72 hours to find the next Black Stars coach. This comes in the wake of GFA's decision to terminate the appointment of CK Akonnor as head coach of the Black Stars. Joy Sports Hans Mensah has details of CK Akonnor's journey as a coach of the national team in the following report.
I will not call players based on their names, because it's CK Akonnor and he's playing Manchester United. I should invite him. No.
That was Charles Kwabla Akonnor when he was appointed head coach of the Black Stars in January 2020. He replaced Kwesi Appiah, under whom he had served as assistant coach of the senior national team. Before that, he was appointed by Kumasi Asante Kotoko as head coach in October 2018. But by August 2019, he was given the boot. His 10 games in charge yielded 4 victories, 4 defeats and 2 draws. Fans described some of those matches as lackluster, particularly the match against Ethiopia in Cape Coast. Ghana's defeat against South Africa intensified calls for his sacking. Football pundits Nana Jiman, Jerome Otri and Joy Sports' Gabrielle Smith.
The fact of the matter is, he didn't do himself any favours.
The president of our country said at a breakfast meeting that the target was for CK Akonnor to win the Africa Cup of Nations and to get to the semi-final of the World Cup. I mean,
if we are any serious people, we don't need a local coach now.
JoyNews sports journalist Gabrielle Smith said the stage had already been set for coach CK Akonnor to fail.
As a nation, we set CK Akonnor up to fail. Why did we set him up to fail? Evans, we all knew, you knew in the studio, when Kwesi Appiah was sacked, Evans, you knew that we did not have a team that was a world beater. You knew.
Yeah.
Everybody knew.
Yeah.
And yet, when CK Akonnor was given the job, we all watched. And when I say we, I mean our leaders are a reflection of us. So we all watched as our leaders, one after the other, kept saying that qualify for the AFCON and go and win the AFCON. When everybody knew that CK Akonnor, maybe he was a coach who was going to learn from his mistakes as he went along. But we knew that we could not give him the support he needed to win the AFCON. We also knew that he did not have the material necessary to win the AFCON one touch. We knew, but we all watched as our leaders said that. A couple of months ago, the president of our country said at a breakfast meeting that the target for CK Akonnor, because they were going to get money, from corporate Ghana and all that, was for CK Akonnor to win the Africa Cup of Nations and to win and to get to the semi-final of the World Cup. I mean, Evans.
Yeah.
We did not even give the 2010 team who had gotten to the final of an Africa Cup of Nations, we did not even set them that target before they went to South Africa.
Yes.
Why then would we do that to a team that has just crashed out in Egypt in the manner that they did? Why have we done this to CK Akonnor? We have been very unfair. So forget about the statistics for a moment. But all of us have done a great disservice to this man who we gave the job in the hope that he was going to learn and develop with all of us.
Of the 3-member group charged to find a new coach, Dr. Randy Abbey has been sharing the qualities to fish out for the search for the new man.
In my view, a coach's role, really, one is about having a strategy for a game, calling up players, deploying players according to a strategy for the game, decision making in the course of the game. Key.
So it's a leadership role.
Yeah, key. So let's say you're going to play Zimbabwe, home and away. You obviously will study your opponents, and that will inform how you want to approach the game. Then you call up players. The players you call up must be informed by how you want to approach the game. The players you deploy, that's your actual selection, must inform that. And then in the course of the game, many things can happen because a lot of decisions you make throughout the game are assumptions. In the course of the game, some of your assumptions might not work out. And that is where the tactical ingenuity of coaches come to play. You understand me? So your strategy, the color, the deployment, decision making in the course of the game. That's what makes one make a coach.
Joining me via Zoom for more on this is Nana Agyemang, who is a football analyst. Again, a former Ghanaian footballer, Augustine Forson, will also join us via phone. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you very much.
So let me start with you, Augustine. I mean, the biggest question that football enthusiasts have been asking since this news is what next for the Black Stars? Do you have an answer? Hello, Augustine. All right. So if we're not getting Augustine, let's bring in Nana Agyemang. Nana Agyemang, let me put this straight to you. Do you have an answer to people who are asking for, who are asking about what next for the Black Stars?
Thank you very much. Well, I think there's two things. If we are really serious about wanting to win the AFCON, and if we're half serious about wanting to enter the semi-finals of the World Cup, one of the things we have to do is we have to spend a lot of money to get a coach that has already won the African Cup of Nations, a coach who knows the terrain, knows the African terrain, knows the unscientific logic that we apply to football on a daily basis, that governs the way we see football. And only then can we turn things around, perhaps for the AFCON, not necessarily for the World Cup, the semi-final berth, but certainly we could stand a better chance of winning the African Cup of Nations. But you know, you're talking about $100,000 plus per month for that type of coach. You can't get a coach who's going to do that for you and pay him $25,000. Even $50,000 will be insufficient. The other option is we can hold our horses. We can take a deep and sincere introspection, and we will come up with the conclusion that we need at least another 5 years to develop and nurture all the national teams. We need another 5 years to develop our Premier League and all the other divisional leagues that we have. We need another 5 years to really give birth to the revival of Colts football, because it was through Colts football that we saw the likes of Essien and Muntari and Kujo Asamoah and Asamoah Gyan and, you know, and the likes. And we've not seen them again since the time they've departed. Now, they really set the standard. I mean, back in the day, we had the best, one of the best midfield quartets in the world. For my money, they were at least in the top 5, if not even higher. We've not been able to match that since then. We've not been able to match that team that went to the World Cup back in 2006. Everything else after that, after our 2010 escapade in South Africa, has been totally woeful and been below standard. So there's two options we have. If we want to force to see if we can win something for the first time in 40 years, pay for a quality coach to come and give that coach a free hand so that he can make all the necessary decisions he wants to make. He can work with a selection criteria and not a committee that vets the players that he's selected, but he can have a proper...
that there was some hand twisting somewhere. We've heard CK Akonnor himself talk about influence from outside. So from what you're saying, so it means that there was some influence somewhere, right?
Well, you and I were not there, to coin a famous phrase. But yes, of course, you know, I am aware that there have been instances when CK has picked his side and the GFA have changed 1 or 2 players or even 3 players. It shouldn't be like that. We should have a comprehensive selection criteria that governs what the coach does. And statistics will show you, and in some instances, you can go with your heartbeat as to what you think a particular player can do. You can have 1 or 2 wild cards outside of the selection criteria, but you definitely need to have a free hand to work. You can't have a situation where people who are not coaches, who do not have the experience you have, who do not have the qualification, are telling you ultimately what to do. And as I say, on the other hand, which is something I prefer, let's look at development. Let's look at development because, you know, when the under-17 goes for a tournament, if they lose, they're disbanded. The same with the under-20s, the same with the under-23s. The under-23s is like a ghost team. It just really exists in word only. They've just played a couple of games a few months back, and I think it was 11-1 in total, the 2 games or something like that. It was atrocious. But the fact of the matter is, because there's a lack of focus on our local players, we don't seem to be interested in developing them and nurturing them.
All right. Let me bring in Augustine Ahin on this one because you hit on players and development of players. Augustine Ahin, I'm grateful for your time. Now, a lot of people, people are blaming CK for, I mean, what is happening at the Black Stars camp, their performance and everything. Who would you blame? Is it CK's fault? Because we've also heard CK Akonnor talk about the fact that there are people who have influence in the selection of players in top matches and what have you. Who should we blame for the performance of the Black Stars?
Thank you very much. I don't think when it comes to team sports, one singular person can be blamed for the team's successes or, as it were, team not being successful. People are blaming because that's what pertains in Ghana. We only look at one aspect of the area and then we try to blame. When you come to team sports, there are a lot of functions that have to happen to bring success. So let's ask ourselves that whoever was in charge of whatever, how have they performed as a people? I ask myself a lot of questions. Do we only look at the performance of the team or other stuff or other things going on before the performance happens? Why is Ghana not being able to fix the Accra Sports Stadium to that level that will bring the best out of the players? Why is it so? Why have we neglected our youth system as well when it comes to development? And then we just single out the Black Stars, and whenever it doesn't go well, we try to blame the coach or somebody else. As a people, what are we doing? Why have we neglected all these things? We cannot fix one particular stadium that the national team of Ghana, in this case the Black Stars, will always be playing there. I can't get it. Because when it comes to football, like I stated, a lot of factors come to play. So are we saying that it's only CK Akonnor who has contributed to us not being successful within the past few months, or it has been a systemic thing that has been there? Let's look at all these areas and try to correct them and see that are we capable of going forward. People talk about quality. Yes, maybe the quality cannot be compared to yesterday, but you can have plan. Even if you don't have quality, you can still have a plan. That will propel the team to the next level. What has been our plan? So we should look at all these factors, sit down as a people, let's judge and know where we have to start from.
Augustine, do you think that the GFA has been unfair to CK Akonnor?
I wouldn't want to single out CK Akonnor. Let's look at how we keep on changing our coaches. What has been the norm? What have they done right? What have they done wrong? Do we change because we want to change, because we didn't win a particular game we lost? Or we are changing because we just want to change? Or we are changing because there's a particular thing that we expect somebody to do and they are not doing it? Also, let me take this opportunity to state that coaches in this country, especially the local ones, have to be bold enough. They have to be bold enough because for a coach to go ahead and invite a player and the player stating publicly that he himself thought that he was not even qualified to be invited. Ask yourself that what really went on before that player was invited. So if somebody says somewhere and he wants to blame the coach, yes. Were the player selected by the coach himself or somebody else had influence on that selection? I don't know because like Nana stated, I wasn't there. So I cannot say. But as a technical person, sitting where I'm sitting, it should not happen. It shouldn't happen as something that will bring confusion into it. It should not happen at all.
What do you think that the sacking of the coach at this critical moment will affect the Black Stars?
For me, the timing, because we have barely 3 weeks to play our next game. And we have 2 games within the month of October. As to whether whoever is coming knows the African terrain, whoever that person is coming, or even if it's locally, understands whatever he is coming to face, which is, the management, the FA, and the people that he's going to work with. How good that person understands is what we have to look at. Because we need somebody who knows the African terrain, be it a local or a foreign coach. We need to have a person who understands where we are coming from, who is ready to work with us, who is able to forgive and move on. That is the person we are looking for, or we need as we speak. But we have 2 games in October, 2 games in November. For now, the decision has been taken already. CK is no more. We don't need to cry over spilled milk because the milk is already down there. Let's look at how we put ourselves together and move the nation Ghana forward when it comes to football. That should be our first aim.
I think I can put this directly also to you, Nana Agyemang. We are now fishing out for a new coach. In fact, that's what the 3-member committee is supposed to do in 72 hours. Who immediately comes on your radar? Are there names that ring a bell that can do this job for us?
Well, I only think about Hervé Renard because Hervé Renard was here before. He has a good indication of how we think and how we do things. And when he was here, he was the physical trainer. He worked with Claude Leroy. And he left after Claude Leroy was dismissed. He went to Zambia. He won the African Cup of Nations. Eventually, he left from Zambia. He went to Morocco. He won the African Cup of Nations. He's now in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure he's getting, 80, 90, 100,000 US dollars. And for me, if we still want to be stubborn and pursue this dream of winning the African Cup of Nations for the first time within 40 years, I think that is a man who understands the African terrain, who has done it all before. He's a man who will stand up to the GFA and the government need be, and he will tell them that if it's not done his way, they should take their job. So I think it should be him, but it comes with a heavy price tag. You're talking about 100,000 as a minimum to get that man here. Other than that, I don't know of anyone else. I don't know of anyone else. I don't know of anyone locally, and I don't know of anyone else internationally who would be up for coming here.
Okay. Let me ask Augustine the same question. Do you agree with Nana that, this is the best man for the job, or you have other names?
Don't want to speculate on any name. At the end of the day, we have said CK is not good. So let's go and bring in that competent person that will take us to the next level.
Okay. So
that is what I'm interested in.
So what are your expectations of the 3-member committee, the GFA committee, which is supposed to get as a new coach?
My surprise is that the technical director of the FA was not part of that committee. Because we are talking about technical matters here. So at least he should have been part of that committee to seek or to bring us the next coach, that technical director of the FA. But I'm surprised that he's not part of that committee. So I really don't know. I can't say much about that. But I hope that whoever or those on that committee will bring us who will qualify us to the World Cup and also go to Nations Cup, perform well, and then the subsequent World Cup. But at the end of the day, we want good results. Should they go and bring that person and we don't have that results that we are expecting, then whoever is in charge should also be taken up.
Nana, does the absence of the technical director on the committee actually affect any decision that will be taken?
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. He's the one with the technical brains. Randy's got good experience. There's no doubt about that. He's gone through the mill. We know that, but he's not a technical man. Neither is Mark Addo. Very far from that. And Zida, please. The technical director should be there. There's no two ways about that, because this is an issue where this is the case where you want to select someone who technically is competent, because that's what the issue is about. It's the technical competence that we're talking about. And who better to assist in selecting someone who is technical competent than the technical director? There's no two ways. It should be there. But we've seen this kind of thing happen before, where administrators think they are the appropriate ones. I mean, it happens in our local football. I mean, what we've done to a certain extent, we've undermined our local coaches throughout the season. I mean, there are some football administrators and club owners who will tell you that, oh, don't mind him. He thinks he won the course, but that he won the match. But I paid X, Y, and Z to ensure that the match went our way. That talk is something that runs rife throughout our football terrain, our football fraternity. So, I'm not surprised it hasn't gone the way it should do, because, we've got a situation here where, football administrators and club owners think they know the game better than those that have gone through the course, to deal with that aspect of the game. So that's how we are. That's why I say you need someone who's aware of our nuances and who's prepared to stick two fingers up to us and tell us he's doing it his way, or come and take the team yourself.
Augustine, as a former footballer, I want to find out from you, what do you think are the challenges with us not performing well aside the coach? If you put the coach aside, what other things that do not allow us to perform when we go out there?
I don't think you can. What I'm coming to say, you can take the coach out.
Okay.
What I have observed, looking at our team recently, is that I ask myself a lot of questions as a technical person. That the format, I don't know if you understand, the formation, the system that we are playing, do we have the materials for that particular format or system? I have always asked myself whenever I watch the Black Star play, that do these players really understand the system that we are playing? If we are able to get a coach who will give us a system that suits the players that we have, I think we can go places with that. That is what we lack. That we don't have the likes of the Michaelasians, the Samojans, the Stephen Appiahs now. This is what we have. How can we get the best out of them? Are we supposed to play 4-4-2? Are we supposed to play 3-5-2? Are we supposed to play 4-3-3? Are we supposed to play 4-2-3-1, whatever? Which of these systems will suit the players I have? And if a coach comes in and is able to see that this is what can bring the best out of the team and he implements it, I am sure the team will start giving us the results that we need. Until that time, we'll just be talking like you've called me tomorrow, you call me, and we'll still be discussing because a Black Star coach has been asked to leave his position. We should identify exactly what we are looking for or what we want, and let the players perform that roles that we expect them to do. And I'm sure when we are able to do that, we can go places with that.
The conversation about whether we should bring in an expatriate or we should bring in a Ghanaian coach. I would be finding out from all of you what we should do next. But let's pick some comments from Twitter. And at Bra Silva G8 says, Egypt has sacked coach Hossam Al-Badri after the first drawing with Gabon. He played 9 games, 5 wins and 4 draws. If CK Akonnor happens to be in Egypt, they will chase him out of the country. And that's the one coming from at Bra Silva. Yampofo says Ghana Football Association has parted ways. So Akonnor was sacked due to his unimpressive performances against Ethiopia and South Africa. The Black Stars manager lost 40% of games he took charge of. Yampofo is the one sending this. And at Oscar Nuwati says, Nipa Ebado, you make him dance in front of players this way and you sack him on top. Ow, CK Akonnor. GAY, and that's the video of CK Akonnor dancing with the Black Stars over there. And let's look at this from Mutala Stifler. It says Kwesi Appiah sacked, CK Akonnor sacked. Should we hire an expatriate coach again, or another Ghanaian must be given the opportunity? And this is what I'll be coming to wrap up with you guys on as we search for a new coach for the Black Stars. Adolfo Labi says Alhaji Karim Gruza, when the Ghana Football Association appointed CK Akonnor as a head coach of the senior national team of the Black Stars. So there's a picture there showing Alhaji Gruza, who doesn't look happy there. So he says today GFA has sacked CK Akonnor, and that's what. So of course he's trying to portray the picture that Alhaji Gruza should be happy for what has happened. Okay, so these are some of the comments on Twitter. It's just mixed reactions over there. Let me wrap up this conversation with you. There's been calls for, I've heard many people say that we don't need a Ghanaian coach anymore. We need an expatriate. I mean, what's your thoughts on this one? And I'll start with Augustine Ahe.
I think that what we need, if we indeed we think CK was not competent enough, then we are looking for competence. Let's look for somebody who will be competent to do the job to our satisfaction. And to touch on the dancing of CK, it has been the norm of the Black Stars. Whenever you are invited to camp the first time, you need to dance for the whole team.
Okay.
So it's been the norm.
Okay.
Be it a coach, a player, a new player comes in his first call-up. Before in one of their dinners, you have to come and stand in front of the players and dance.
Okay.
So this video is not current. It's been a video which CK did way back before now.
Okay.
But as mischievous as you want us to be, people are using it. So I'm looking for a competent person, be it a local person or a foreign person, who understands the terrain of what we are looking for or where we come from. And then we hope that the rest will be the luck on our side.
Do you trust the GFA to do a good job? Because this is the same GFA that people have pointed that they really set up the stage for CK Akonnor to fail.
I expect them, of course. I mean, we need to believe in them or trust them because they are in charge, as you speak, for now, in charge of Ghana football. So we need to trust and hope that whatever decisions that they come up with will be the best for the nation. When they are not able to do that, then we can hold them responsible. Because we can't keep on changing coaches every now and then, meaning that the coaches are not good, but they are right. It's one thing that we have to look at. We believe them that they are going to bring the results, but at the end of the day, if they are not able to give us that good result or a coach, then we should hold them responsible.
Nanajaman, so first tell me whether we still need a Ghanaian coach or an expatriate.
Well, it depends what we're going to do. I've said to you, if we're still in pursuit of winning the African Cup of Nations, we need a competent expatriate coach. Because, you see, it's not that we don't have competent coaches here in Ghana, but there's an issue about whether or not they'll be able to stand up to the GFA, and they won't. They won't be able to, you know. So if we want to pursue that line, get a competent expatriate coach. If we are looking at development, which I would like to think we would go down that road and just tell the general public, give us another 5 years to build something across all the national team fronts, then I would go with a local coach, because we could develop and nurture that local coach as well. He could go outside and roll on proper UEFA license coaching courses and get the exposure that he really needs to come back and govern a senior national team. So it's up to them. They've got the 3-man committee. So I take it that they're still in pursuit of winning the AFCON for the first time in 40 years. Get the checkbook out. You're looking at an expatriate coach who's currently the head of a senior national team now, someone who's won the AFCON before, someone who knows the terrain, someone who will stand up to the GFA, 100%. That's what you're looking for.
And the fact that the GFA has been accused of not being fair to CK Akonnor, you trust them to do a good job?
Yeah, look, it's the football fraternity that elects them, and 30 million people are not a part of that football fraternity. The football fraternity has made a judgment based on presentations that were made at an annual general meeting. We've elected the president, and we've elected the executive committee, and on that basis, we do trust them. We do trust them to carry out their mandate. They will, having said that, they will make mistakes, they will get things wrong. And we hope that they will correct those mistakes, correct where they've gone wrong as quickly as possible. Now we're at a crossroads. They have decided at the crossroads that, look, we're not going for development, we're going for Monte Carlo or bust. We must win the African Cup of Nations, because that's the target they set for CK, which is something he couldn't achieve. And they also set another target, the semi-finals of the World Cup. Definitely one of the biggest impossibilities. I stand more chance of conquering Mount Everest in a wheelchair. So, look, we're going for Monte Carlo or bust. Get an expatriate coach, get the checkbook out. You're looking at $100,000 minimum for a very, very, very good coach, and let's take it all from there.
For your time. Nana Agyemang is a football analyst and also Augustine Forson, a former footballer. I'm extremely grateful for your time. But who is this man, CK Akonnor? Let me give you a little background on what has transpired so far. CK Akonnor and his 2 assistants' contracts having terminated. CK succeeded Kwesi Appiah in 2020. We all know that. After Kwesi Appiah was sacked, and then we brought in CK Akonnor. Now the Executive Council has formed a 3-member committee to look for a new coach within 72 hours. Now, Mark Ado, who is Vice President, GFA, Alhaji Salifu Zida, who is Upper East Regional Football Association Chairman, and Dr. Randy Abbey, Executive Council member of GFA, make up these 3 special committee. And you hear that there's been questions about why the technical director is not part of this team, because we're talking about technicalities, and he is in the best position to, I mean, you heard Nana Agyemang and Augustine Forson talk about the fact that this will actually affect the work of this 3-member special committee. So these are the members who will get us a new coach in 72 hours. CK Akonnor's performance as Black Stars coach, people said he's performed 40% so far. But he's headed 10 matches, won 4 for us, lost 4, and had 2 draws for us. So this has been his performance so far. Goals for versus goals against, we have 12 for and 9 against, and all under the he has been superintending the Black Stars to get this goals for us, 12 of that. And we've also had 9 goals against. All right. And again, there's been mixed reactions on the streets since this news hit us from last night. What do people think about this?
Naturally, what I think about the sacking of CK Akonnor as a person from Ghana would have to be the fact that for us as people that pay tax to the government, it would be good for us going into this AFCON tournament and also in qualification to the World Cup. And then if it's good for us, that means that we are finding a good replacement that is very good than CK Akonnor. Initially, for me personally, I didn't believe the fact that if you are looking for a local coach in our country, you would have to come in CK Akonnor with what he left behind at Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So when he was appointed as a coach for the Black Stars, I thought, well, that we could have done better than CK Akonnor. Looking at the goal that we've set for ourselves as a country, going into the World Cup and making sure that within the next AFCON, we are supposed to win it after so many years. So if CK, has been given his marching orders, it's a good call. But what will be a disadvantage to us as a country is the fact that we have limited time, about 6 months, to also prepare for the next AFCON, which is in February. That means that the coach that is coming in would have to be experienced. That means that the coach that is coming in would have to know the terrain and how he can also help us in going into the World Cup where we'll be able to qualify.
I mean, from 2008 to around 2014, before Kwesi Appiah came, the foreigners carried us and we played very well, played in the semi-final of the AFCON for most of the year. So I think that is the way we should go and appoint a foreign coach, because that's the way we've proven that we can play well.
And lastly, what do you make of this political interference in our football?
What I knew was that football was supposed to be for football people, as some people said. So I'm really surprised as to how there is a lot of government interference, because I knew that anytime government interfered in football activities, the countries were banned. So I'm surprised you are joking with something like this, because there could be an impending FIFA ban if there is that much of interference by politics.
There you have it, the views from the streets of Accra. Now, let's move on from CK Akonnor, and we'll be hoping that in 72 hours we have a new coach for the Black Stars, because it's critical.